Imagine the endless blue, the rhythmic sway of the ocean and the comforting solitude of the sea. Now imagine spotting another ship, sails billowing, cutting gracefully through the waves, a welcome sight. But as you draw closer, a chill sets in. Something isn't right. There's no one on deck, no flag, no response, just an eerie silence carried on the wind. This isn't just a ship, this is a ghost. And the crew, they've vanished. This is the true story of the Mary Celeste, a vessel found sailing without a soul, leaving behind one of history's most baffling and terrifying mysteries. What happened on that ship? And why, after nearly 150 years, do we still have no answers? Our story begins not with a mystery, but with a dream. The year is 1872. Captain Benjamin Briggs, a respected, devout seaman, was preparing for what should have been a routine voyage. His ship, the Mary Celeste, was a sturdy, well-maintained brigantine, designed for the transatlantic trade. But this wasn't just a commercial venture for Briggs, it was a family affair. His wife, Sarah, and their 2-year-old daughter, Sophia, were joining him. They were seasoned travelers, excited for the journey from New York to Genoa, Italy, carrying a cargo of 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol. Along with them, a hand-picked, experienced crew of 7 men. All seemed well, all was calm. On November 7, 1872, the Mary Celeste set sail, a picture of normalcy on the vast Atlantic. Nearly a month later, on December 4th, the Mary Celeste was spotted, not by a search party, but by a British brigantine, the DEI Gracia, under the command of Captain David Morehouse, a personal friend of Benjamin Briggs. Immediately, something felt off. The Mary Celeste was sailing erratically, its sails partially torn and flapping in the wind. A strange sight for such a capable captain. Morehouse sent his first mate, Oliver DeVoe, and 2 crewmen to investigate. What they found would etch the Mary Celeste into the annals of the unexplained forever. The ship was utterly deserted, not a soul on board, yet there were no signs of a struggle, no distress signals, just an eerie, profound silence. DeVoe meticulously searched. In the galley, a meal was left half-eaten. In the captain's cabin, Sarah Briggs's sewing machine sat with an unfinished garment. Personal effects, pipes, clothes, jewelry, were undisturbed. 6 months' worth of provisions were still in the hold. But the ship's sole lifeboat was gone. And perhaps most chillingly, the chronometer, a vital navigation tool, and the ship's navigation instruments were also missing. The last entry in the logbook was made 10 days prior, on November 25th. The DEI Gracia brought the Mary Celeste into Gibraltar, claiming salvage rights. But the authorities were instantly suspicious. John Solly, the Attorney General, was convinced of foul play. "It looks like a case of piracy," he declared. He examined the ship with a fine-tooth comb, noting what he believed were bloodstains on the captain's sword and nicks on the ship's rail. Could the crew of the DEI Gracia have committed the unthinkable? But the evidence never fully materialized. The bloodstains turned out to be rust. The nicks on the rail were too shallow to indicate a struggle. Captain Morehouse and his crew were eventually cleared, but the shadow of doubt lingered. The question remained. If not piracy, then what? The first most common theory, especially in the rough seas of the 19th century, was mutiny or piracy. Did the crew turn on Captain Briggs? Was the ship boarded by bloodthirsty pirates who took the crew and left the ship perfectly intact? However, the evidence strongly contradicts this. No valuable cargo was missing. The personal belongings of the crew were untouched. Pirates typically stripped a ship bare, and Captain Briggs was known as a fair, albeit strict leader. The crew was hand-picked, experienced, and seemingly loyal. The idea of them turning on a man of his reputation, especially with his family on board, seems unlikely. This ship was not pillaged. It was simply abandoned. The Mary Celeste's cargo was 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol. This detail forms the basis of one of the most compelling theories. Alcohol fumes, especially in the confines of a ship's hold, can be highly volatile. Could a buildup of these fumes have caused a small, contained explosion? The theory suggests a minor explosion, perhaps a burp from a leaking barrel, startled the crew. Believing the ship was about to ignite, Captain Briggs, in a moment of panic, ordered everyone into the single lifeboat, tethering it to the ship. They would wait for the fumes to disperse, then reboard. But then, a storm could have hit. The rope could have snapped. The Mary Celeste, now free, would have sailed away, leaving the crew adrift in the vast, unforgiving ocean. A terrifying but plausible chain of events. Except for one critical detail. Investigators found no evidence of any explosion or fire damage anywhere on the ship, not a scorch mark, not a singe. The ship was pristine. If there was an explosion, it left no trace. What if the threat came not from within the ship, but from beneath the waves? Some propose a seaquake, a powerful underwater earthquake. Such a tremor could have caused the ship to lurch violently, throwing the crew off balance, potentially causing part of the alcohol cargo to rupture and spill. In this scenario, Captain Briggs, fearing the ship was damaged or sinking, would again order the immediate evacuation into the lifeboat. The ship, not actually sinking, would eventually right itself and sail away, leaving the desperate crew to their fate. This theory accounts for the lack of damage and the sudden abandonment, but it relies on a very specific, rare event, and again, the loss of a tether to the ship. It's a compelling thought, but without direct evidence, it remains just that, a thought. Despite all the theories, the Mary Celeste continues to defy explanation. If the crew abandoned ship in a hurry, why was everything else so orderly? Why was the captain's precious sextant left behind, but the less valuable chronometer taken? What caused them to make such a drastic decision, knowing the dangers of the open sea? No bodies were ever found. No definitive wreckage from the lifeboat. The fate of Captain Briggs, his family, and his entire crew remains one of the ocean's most enduring and heartbreaking puzzles. They simply vanished, leaving behind a perfectly seaworthy vessel as a silent testament to an unknown terror. The Mary Celeste isn't just a historical footnote. It's a chilling reminder of the vast, unpredictable power of the ocean and the fragility of human life. It taps into our deepest fears, the unknown, the sudden loss, the idea of being utterly erased from existence without a trace. It forces us to confront the fact that some questions, despite all our advances, will simply never be answered. Every time we look at the sea, a part of us wonders, what secrets does it truly hold? And what other uncharted paths have swallowed lives and left only silence in their wake? The mystery of the Mary Celeste endures, a haunting tale whispered across the waves. But what do you believe happened? Was it a sudden, terrifying accident? A desperate escape gone wrong? Or something far more sinister? Share your theories in the comments below, and if you're ready to uncover more of the world's most baffling enigmas and uncharted histories, remember to join our community. Your journey into the unknown has just begun.